Hello. So this is going to be my way too long discussion on Attack on Titan Season 1 / first 8 volumes. I did post a video yesterday talking about my Season 1 thoughts as a whole, going over the main points and themes that I wanted to discuss. It's all under 30 minutes. And then this is the much longer vlog style video where I checked in after each volume and talked about each scene and character as I went along. You will see theorizing, obsessive, trying to connect the dots and figure out what's going on, a little bit of tinfoil hat, if I'm honest, as well as going through my notebook of trying to compile as much information as I can because I'm just really into this series. So that's what this video is. If that's your thing, enjoy. If it's not, maybe just check out yesterday's video. It'll be linked in the description. But anyway, on to the clips of Past Murphy with many thoughts. Enjoy. Hello, I finished the first volume of Attack on Titan, and as well as the correlating anime episodes, and I'm already in love with it. Okay, so first of all, excellent start to the story. This scene here at the beginning where the soldiers, well, first of all, it's that contrast, isn't it, of the heroes are coming in. We have to see the heroes come in, and it's that excitement, that childlike excitement. And then they come in and you have these dark, haunted eyes. These are the heroes. They're haunted by what's happened outside. And we have a woman who runs up to them and begs them, please tell me, where's my son? He should be with you. He's not. All we recovered is his one limb. And then she just wants to know, well, he did his job though, right? Like he progressed our efforts. His life wasn't lost needlessly, right? And the hero, quote unquote, tried to lie. But he couldn't. We accomplished nothing. We didn't get any closer to finding out what those things really are. So already here at the beginning, I'm feeling the conflict. I'm feeling the urgency of what's happening with the Titans, as well as the despair that the people are feeling at large. This need of, there has to be a solution, there has to be an answer, we'll just keep going, we'll keep fighting, and even though people are dying, people we love we're losing them, it doesn't matter because we're moving forward in our efforts, right? No, we're not. It's insurmountable. It feels impossible. We're no closer. All of our efforts are worthless. This enemy is too big and we don't understand it. Oh, so good. Then of course we have to watch Eren's mom die. So this giant Titan coming over the wall, and then they break through, and the scene, oh my goodness, in the anime, the scene between Eren and his mom when she's trapped in the building, under the building, and they're screaming at each other, and he's trying to lift the barrier up, and she's like, I can't run, even if you get me out, I can't run. He's like, then I'll carry you. And I watched it in the sub, and the voice acting in that scene carried it so much farther, and where it would have already carried itself. Like, it already was a phenomenal scene, but it was brilliant. And watching him scream as he's being dragged away from his mother, and his mom thanking the guard that drug him away, because yes, she's gonna die, but at least he won't die along with her. And then Eren having to watch his mother get eaten by the Titan as he's being dragged away screaming. It was such a great way to immediately latch me on to Eren, to where I feel for him now, because I've seen what he's been through. I've seen his pain. I've seen why he has this very strong desire of, oh, I'm joining the guard. I'm going to be one of the garrison, is that what they're called, at the top of the wall? I'm going to be there, and I'm going to make sure that I advance these efforts to wipe these Titans out. I'm going to make sure that they're destroyed. I'm going to make sure that to me, it's vengeance. I want to avenge my mom, but it's more than that as well. It's also, I want to make sure that what happened to me and my family does not continue happening. I will be a part of making sure that it stops. And then we cut straight to cadet training, which again, love the anime for pulling certain chapters forward so that we can actually really get to know the cadets here at the beginning. So Aaron's first day on the wall, and the Titan shows up and he starts fighting the Titan. Again, love it. I love the action in the series, specifically, especially in the anime. I love the action in this series. This fight where he's getting ready to take down the Titan and then it just disappears. Okay, here's the thing. I'm really into this Titan business. So as I'm learning more about it, I'm taking notes and I'm trying to keep track of all the details so that I can sort this out. So I have what is most likely a really dumb theory. So please feel free to laugh at me. So I know that the Titans they run really hot. Their body heat is really hot. That means nothing to me, but I've stored it in my brain. I know that they choose their form. They've chosen something that looks similar to a male human form, but presumably, since they chose that form, they can choose other forms if they want to. I know that they're sexless beings. They have a male human form, but they have no sexual organs. Therefore, they don't understand how the Titans are reproducing. I know that they're able to regenerate. If their arm gets blasted off, if their shoulder gets that's part of the arm. If their head gets blasted off, then they can, within a couple of minutes, regenerate those limbs and keep moving, unless you hit the one spot on the back of their neck. That's the only place that takes them down. So, collecting all this information, they choose their form. Assumedly, they can take different forms. They can regenerate. They're moldable. Okay, right? So I understand that. So with that knowledge in mind, I'm getting too intense. I'm sorry. I'll calm down. With that knowledge in mind, I noticed that when the Titan disappeared, when Eren was fighting it, there seemed to be a smaller footprint. Like it was standing in that spot when it was very large, and then maybe it started to shrink, and then there was one more footprint that was a little bit smaller, and then as it continued to shrink, the footsteps too continued to be smaller and leave a smaller indentation. And Eren's viewing this from an aerial point of view. If he had gone down to the ground and studied those footprints, I wonder if he would be able to see more up with closer examination. I know that sounds dumb, but in my mind, maybe the reason the Titan just abruptly disappeared is because because there was a lot of smoke surrounding Eren. While he was fighting the Titan, there was tons of smoke surrounding. So maybe in the smoke, Eren lost visual on the Titan, which he definitely did. He lost visual on the Titan, and then in that split second, it shrank down really quickly. And then, I don't know, walked through the opening in the wall, or maybe walked away, and Eren just couldn't see it anymore because he wasn't looking for, something that was like an inch tall or a foot tall or something. Anyway, I realize that theory is probably really off base, but that's probably what you're going to get out of this vlog, is a lot of tinfoil hat theories. So in this first volume, we had a huge story progression. Like, a lot happened as far as time passing and development with Eren and Mikasa. What's this kid's name? I don't remember his name, but I'll get there eventually. Anyway, we got to see a lot of death and a lot of despair, and I am so invested already in the emotions that have already come across in this first volume and these first few episodes. It's already just completely enamored me. And of course, I just showed you this volume ends with Eren saving his childhood friend from the Titan and getting eaten himself. So that's a bad day for him. That really sucks. Especially because Misaka was like, I'm gonna stick with you. You and me, we're pals. And then she was forced to part with him, and she's like, no, I don't want that. And he made her go, and then he dies. So that sucks. I don't think he's actually dead, only because I've heard people talk about Eren from season 1. So I assume that there must be an Eren from season 2 as well. But we'll see. My guess right now is that they're going to hunt down the Titan that ate him and take it down and then cut open its belly and get Eren out of the belly, because, maybe he was swallowed whole. I mean, his arm got bit off, but other than that, he was just swallowed, it looked like. So I think it's possible that he hasn't been digested yet and they can just cut him out of the belly. That's my guess, but we'll see. Anyway, I love it. So On to volume 2. Volume 2 and the adjoining, the episodes that go along with it are done. I'm so into it. I'm losing my mind. Okay, so I have a lot of things to discuss. Hold on. I'll get around to that. So first of all, this whole section, this whole beginning of the volume, we learn about Mikasa's history, about how her parents died, the trauma that came with that, Eren defending her and then motivating her to fight for herself. And we basically see the Mikasa that we know now. We essentially see her form in this flashback. We see how she becomes who she is now, and then it makes sense why she's so devoted to Eren and why she feels such a need to be by his side and to protect him and, essentially doesn't want to live without him, right? And this whole flashback was brilliant, honestly. Their beginning, but then also his tenderness here when he's like, let's go home. And he wraps the scarf around her. It's incredible. And then present day, as we're dealing with a Titan attack, again, and I think I said this in the first volume, in the first clip, the desperation that this series depicts is brilliant. I mean, I feel it's unmatched. I don't think I've ever felt in a manga series, I don't think I've ever felt despair like I do in this series. Like the abruptness of them being in the middle of a battle and then all of a sudden just without any sort of notice, this happens. And it was as shocking to me as it was to the girl who watched it happen. But at the same time, it was so effective in illustrating how hopeless and terrified he felt, and that he was just like, I have a second, okay, this is the only option I see for myself. This is the only thing that makes sense to me because there is no future, there is no hope. And I don't know, the fear and the desperation and the despair and the trauma, these kids, these children that are going through attacks and are going through war and are going through loss, and that for some of them it means clinging to one another, for some of them it means fighting, for some of them it means revenge, for some of them it means that. Like, I can't imagine going through the things that these kids are going through, what they've lived through, but the series is doing such a good job of putting me there closely enough that I completely understand how we arrived here. The scene where Mikasa asks Armin where Eren is, and he tells her that Eren's gone, and she's just like, we don't have time to mourn. We don't have time for all this emotion. We don't have time for any of this. Y'all are losers. Stay behind me. I'm on my own now. You're worthless. And then she just takes off. She's pushing down the grief and just launching herself into battle as her way of grieving. And then I assume I would pronounce his name Jean. His response is this begrudging, well, okay, so move. Like, we're following her. Let's go. It's that angry, frustrated leadership. Is he following her because he has a crush on her? Is he following her because he's not going to leave one of their best soldiers to go out alone? I don't know what his motivation is, but I love this scene. I love this scene for both of them because, again, it's just showcasing her pain and how she's dealing with it, and his leadership and how he's pushing them forward despite, like, none of them want to keep fighting right now, So Mikasa pushes herself, and she is running through her gas way too quickly, and throws herself, essentially, she ends up in danger. She runs out of gas, and she lands in the streets by herself, and a Titan descends on her. And when this Titan showed up and started attacking his fellow Titan, at first I'm like, okay, more information to put in my list of clues that I'm keeping about the Titans because I'm so fascinated in what they are and I want to figure it out before the manga does, before Mikasa does, before the characters do. I want to know, right? So I'm watching this Titan turn, and I already know they're intelligent. I already know they're regenerative. I already know a lot of information about them. And now I see that they do, in fact, have free will, even though what we've seen up to this point, they seem to be led more by instinct because they're able, or because they attack continuously. They feed off of the humans. They eat them, and they don't need them for food, but they choose to do it anyway. So it seems like there's some sort of instinctual pattern that they're following because they're all so uniform. But then we have this one who's breaking uniform, and I'm like, all right, so there is some bit of free will in at least some of them. Why? How? I don't know. But what I do notice is that this one seems to be particularly defending Mikasa, which I found curious. And then after I read several pages of this, it finally clicked. He has Aaron's hair! He has Aaron's hair! This is Aaron! And I already knew because last volume they told me that the Titans don't have sexual organs. And so they don't know how they're reproducing, but they are. And that was very noteworthy to me. And now I see a Titan that has Aaron's hair shortly after Aaron was devoured by a Titan. So when they eat, here's my theory, and it's stupid, I know it is, but let me get it out. When they eat the humans, one of two things is happening. One, either every human they eat is then rebirthing as a Titan. And it's going to be this discussion on there's a monster in each of us and we all are capable of these monstrous things. But now that we have a Titan with free will, we can also have a discussion about, it's in our choices that we make. It's in if we follow those instincts, that instinctual pattern, or if we choose our humanity, or more likely, this is what I actually think is happening. I think there are certain humans that are predisposed to become Titans, not because of how they were born, but because of experimentation. And the reason I think that is because in volume 1, Aaron had this flashback about his dad injecting him with something, and the way it just kind of flashed at him as like an abrupt memory, like a trauma memory, and not as something that he dwells on or has processed fully. It seems like it was a clue and not just like a random thing. So because Aaron is the one that has turned Titan after being devoured, and because earlier on when we were in the Mikasa flashback, when she was gripping this knife, the knife handle fractured. And then when she was running, where is it? There it is. When she was running, the floorboards splintered. So sometimes it's still difficult for me to tell if some sort of super strength is because anime is anime and sometimes characters are just like durable or like crazy strong just because, or if it's a clue. But because both of these things were honed in on, I think it's a clue. So because Aaron has turned Titan, and because Mikasa has this strange abnormal strength about her, and I'm almost positive, wasn't Aaron's dad going to visit Mikasa for his for his house call as a doctor, right? So maybe I need to reread that and just double check that he wasn't visiting her mom or something. But I'm pretty sure he was visiting her, which means that Mikasa was his dad's patient. So was he injecting her as well? Was he messing around with some sort of experimentation, some sort of science that he shouldn't have been messing with because he was trying to understand the Titans, and in doing so, he's injected them with a Titan gene that allows them to, become a Titan if they're devoured by Titans, or if they're, I don't know, in a life-threatening situation. No, they're always in life-threatening situations. They're constantly in life-threatening situations. But when she was in a life-threatening situation and she developed the will to fight, her strength enhanced, and she's at the top of their cadets. She's the number one in their class. So she is more able-bodied. She's stronger. She's more skilled and equipped. So is that her Titan gene that his dad put inside of her? because he was messing around with stuff he shouldn't have been messing around with. Maybe he didn't mean to turn them Titan, but that was just like him pushing science too far. I know I'm probably off base, but I'm really hyped about the possibilities. So my guess is, since Titans can regenerate, my guess is that Eren was swallowed by the Titan, and when he got down to the stomach, he then burst forth from the Titan's stomach, and then that Titan then regenerated its stomach and stood back up and kept fighting. Because if they are reproducing some through those who have the Titan gene, then those Titans who are birthing the new Titans, they have to be able to stand back up. Otherwise, what's the point of producing more in this manner? Which, does that make Dad a baddie? I think that makes Dad a baddie. I think is he behind? I don't think he began the Titans. I don't think he's the author of the Titans, but maybe he's joined a group of extremists and is helping. So maybe it was intentional. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this is a great volume, and I definitely did not expect Eren to just like fall in battle because he was being attacked, and then he was able to come back out of the neck, which, by the way, he was able to come out of the neck. That's where they hit you. That's the one kill spot on Titans. So that's why the Titans... So I do think all the Titans are being controlled by humans, or at least their core power is coming from humans, because that's the kill spot. That's the spot that you have to hit in order to fall, in order to kill a Titan. Which means that there's a human behind the neck of every Titan, which then has me asking the question, what happens when... are they able to release each human from their Titan body if they're able to like cut it out from the neck, or are they far gone? Why are most of the Titans acting in this strange instinctual way? But Eren was able to resist it. He kept some of his humanity. He was able to fight for the humans, and he went after Titan after Titan after Titan. He kept going after them, and he was essentially just trying to take down as many as he could before he was taken down. So is it that he had just turned into a Titan, so he retained some of his humanity, but if he were to stay a Titan for longer, for a day or two, then he would lose his humanity and his Titan instincts would take over and he would be lost? That's my theory right now. I think I said like 6 theories in one long ramble. I'm really liking this series. Hello. So I have read volumes 3 and 4 and watched through episode 13 of Attack on Titan. So I was wrong about some things. Definitely, for sure, not everybody that gets eaten is turned into a Titan. I know that because I saw some of them, floating in stomach acids inside of a Titan, and because I saw some of them thrown up into a ball of human, partially not really digested, because the Titans don't have digestive tracts. Anyway, definitely not that. They reproduce somehow, right? Like, that was not emphasized, but that was said casually in volume 1, that they don't have reproductive organs, but somehow they're reproducing. So I assume some of them are turning, more than just Eren is turning Titan. And I'm still looking at Mikasa sideways for the extreme strength that she displayed in volume 2. But I don't know. So anyway, Eren burst out of the belly of that one Titan. Now, did that Titan then regenerate? Because we can only... See, this is what I'm saying, because I think that Titan must still be alive that Eren burst out of the belly of, because you can only kill them by cutting them in the back of the neck, and nobody did that. Eren burst from the belly of that Titan. So I assume that Titan, after a few minutes, then regenerated, reformed, like they do when they have their arm blasted off, and it stood back up and it kept going. So other people have to be reproducing this way, right? Other Titans have to be coming out this way. But I think that, I don't know, but why can Eren turn back and forth? I haven't decided yet. But what I do know is that Eren is changing. Something is going on with Eren. So when he turns, he can turn at will. By the way, the key and the basement and the injection have been re-emphasized in this volume, so I know that's a common. But anyway, he is able to transform in this manner, but also he can choose. Later on, he says what kind of Titan he's choosing to be as he transforms. So he can control it intuitively. He likens it to being able to like move your feet and your arms just by your brain. So it's an intuitive thing that he's able to do, and he gets to choose how tall he wants to be, what type of Titan he wants to be. So that's interesting because the Titans do seem like instinctual creatures. So I think there is something unique about Eren. So it's possible that the Titans are their own, like they haven't all been created or formed from humans, though I still think that they are. Because the fact that the cutting point is the back of the neck, the killing point is the back of the neck, and that's where Eren was stored in his Titan, makes me think that there's a person behind every Titan. But Eren does seem to be functioning differently than the other Titans are. But also, Eren's clearly being turned. He's clearly being changed when he turns into a Titan. That was shown physically when he had the nosebleed after he turned, but also mentally when he stopped acting of his own free will, stopped doing what their plan was, and Ahriman was screaming at the window in Eren's mind, trying to get him to realize, to get out of this sort of comforting vision where Eren thought he was reunited with family and thought he was in a peaceful place while he's terrorizing, which is its own kind of horror. Imagine that. You think you're in this peaceful place with family and serenity, but in fact, bodily, you're harming and killing the people you care about. That's like its own thing. That's its own kind of horror that, like, I don't even know if the series is actually going to explore or tap into deeply, but that's terrifying. I wonder if every Titan is that way, where the person behind the neck, the person that's controlling the Titan, is living in this false utopia, this false comforting world, while they're destroying the real world. Like, isn't that like horrifying? Anyway, it's clearly affecting Eren physically with the nosebleed, and then later on in volume 4, look at his eyes. I just want to enter the Survey Corps and kill Titans. Look at his eyes. Kid's unwell. He's clearly, like, I think he's either on his way to a villain arc or to a serious PTSD arc where he's going to be lashing out in some sort of anger or like being terrorized mentally as he's going through this sort of duality of his humanity and his Titan form that are competing for his consciousness. I haven't decided what yet, or maybe it's neither. Maybe I'm just dumb. But Eren, I think, is going to go through some form of descent if he keeps turning back and forth from human to Titan. And I think he'll be obligated to do so because this could be the thing that could save humanity. So I don't think he has much of a choice but to continue to do this transformation, and I think it could be his undoing. Some other things that I really, really loved. I think one thing that makes Attack on Titan so effective is how it's exploring this kind of perspective of being attacked. They didn't choose to be in a wartime because they're trying to gain land or resources or destroy or, conquer. They're in war because they're being attacked, and your options are fight or be wiped out. So that's what they're doing. They're fighting. And it's this we've been raised to fight. We've been trained to fight, but it's also this despair and this hopelessness and this grieving that happens on page. And I think the story does such a good job of reflecting on that just empty, stark feeling of, I want my freedom and I'll fight for my freedom, but death is kind of life is fragile here. Life is so quick to be snuffed out, and I'm not guaranteed tomorrow, and neither is the person standing next to me, and how hopeless that feels. But there's some really good reflections on humanity in general in this series so far. I really liked this conversation. We're told that before the Titans took over the land, human beings were constantly murdering each other over tribal disputes and ideologies. Back then, someone supposedly said, if a powerful non-human enemy appeared, humanity would probably unite and stop fighting itself. What's your opinion, son? And Eren's response is, I've never heard that legend, but I think it's pretty rosy. Frankly, It's dull. Even now, when that powerful enemy has driven us to a corner, I think we're still far from united. Oh, love. And in wartime, humanity, people certainly do unite. We can see that through history, but there's also still division. It's not like humanity turns into this one unified force. It's not that rosy. There's still all of the rest of it, and that's being displayed here as well. Anyway, episode 13 in the anime, I actually ended up, I've been doing manga first then anime, but I was too excited after I finished volume 3, or I don't remember. I was too excited and I ended up just pushing forward in the anime and then going back for the manga. So I watched episode 13 as just like, that was my first experience with these chapters, and I'm so glad I did, because Eren turning Titan and then picking up the stone. And my thought was that he's not going to be able to do it. I didn't think, when they made this strategy, when they reflected on like, people are going to die for you, so you better be able to do it. And Eren's like, well, I really hope I can. Like, yes, okay, I'll do it, but also, what if I can't, right? And people are like, okay, well, we're sacrificing lives. Like, there are people that are going on the ground knowing that they're going to die for you today. So you better do it, right? Like that pressure, those stakes. And then Eren goes Titan and then he loses himself. And I didn't think he was going to lose himself. I thought he was going to not be able to pick up the boulder. But instead, he just completely gets lost in this utopic dream that we already talked about. Oh, another really, really great conversation that happened was where it was this one just here. Those characters. I don't know everybody's name yet. Where that one guy says, "The soldiers didn't die of their own volition. They were sent to their deaths by my orders. At this moment, humanity is on the brink of execution. To give humanity a chance to survive, I'm willing to become a butcher." So it's that back and forth, that hopelessness, that need to do what you have to do to survive, but like, I'm not trying to be here, I don't want this. But also the position of the leader that's like, I'm aware that I'm sending people into their death. I'm aware at what the cost of this on me, on my humanity, on what I have to live with after this, but for the sake of humanity. And it's like, oh, it's having all those hard conversations and reflections. In the anime, this scene where he lifts the boulder, where he walks down and the music's playing and he's done it. He's actually accomplished it. The barrier that we had to overcome wasn't that he couldn't pick it up, but in fact that he was losing himself in his Titan form. But he did it. He was there. And oh my golly, this character, whose name I've forgotten, and I'm just real sorry about that, I love. Great introduction, awesome character from the start. But this whole sequence in episode 13 where Eren does lift the boulder and does accomplish the goal, and for the first time ever they actually were able to succeed in an attack on the Titans. But before that, the Titans were coming down the alleys, and these three men came at it from the ground, luring the Titans away. And then his gear doesn't work and he can't go up, so he just stays on the ground and he's destined to die. But Marcos comes back for him. Marcos or Marco? Marco comes back for him, and he ends up being the one that dies. And I already was attached to this character because the anime pulled this whole section, this whole middle section of volume 4, pulled it earlier on. And so I saw how he was so hopeful. He really believed in the cause and believed in the nobility of fighting for their king and being a part of the change, and seeing that hopefulness in the midst of all of this stark either hopelessness or selfishness that is constantly displayed in these kids' demeanors. And for him, it was just like the purest what a cadet is meant to believe in. And so to lose him killed me. And the anime and the manga had different approaches in how they handled this. Obviously, again, all of these chapters were pulled forward earlier on in the anime, so it all happened so fast. The wall, the boulder was set down, and the attack, them coming in, was stopped, but they still had to handle these Titans, and they're going for it, and it was so abrupt, everything that happened on the ground, and with him pulling the Titans away. And in the anime, in the manga, it was the action and the intensity of setting the boulder down, and then this long flashback interrupted that action. And then we have this conversation between Jean and Marco, and Marco is in the middle of telling him what it is that he wants to tell him. Don't get mad at me for telling you this, but, and then you turn the page and there he is, lying there, gone. And it's that very tenuous relationship with life, right? It's the fact that this is a character that's gotten emphasis. This is a character that we know, that we've lived a little bit with. We're in the middle of dialogue with him in this flashback. We're in the middle of his sentence of learning what he has to say, and he's gone. It's over. Present day, he's done. That page turn that felt like a slap in the face. And then once again, it's in the eyes that Jean is looking at him, just horrified at this person who had impact on him and is now gone. And he's told, you don't have time to mourn. This is not the time for it. We have to get these bodies out of here before we have a whole new problem on our hands. And so he says his name, and then we see his decision, going from this selfish, listen, I'm just here to get to the inner walls so that I can get into the most comfortable position possible. I don't want to fight this fight. I don't want to do this thing. And here he is declaring, I am going to join the Survey Corps. I'm going to fight for something different. And we know that life, Marco's life, and the words he said and the risks he took impacted all of that. It's just, these are side characters. These are characters that haven't even had that much page time. And I feel like this is such a well-told arc in such a small amount of time. But the difference in how the anime and the manga did it, I think they had a different kind of impact. Both kind of showed how quickly life can go, how fast the action and the threat and then the violence happens and how big of an impact it has. In the anime, it all happened so fast. We stayed in the action. We were in the hype of the boulder being laid down, of the mission being a success. This is great. Now we just have to wrap up these final titans, and no, Marco is gone. And in the manga, it was this slow build of building up their characters, and then the page turned and no, Marco's gone. So it was a totally different approach. Personally, I do prefer the anime approach. I felt like it hit me so hard that way, and because Marco had been built up a long time earlier, he was a character that I was excited to see his story build. And in the manga, his story only started to get built up in the same volume that he died in. So I much prefer building up a character in advance and then taking them away rather than building them up immediately before you take them away. But I'm also sympathetic of the fact that the manga probably didn't have the time to build a slow beginning because of the nature of mangas getting canceled. And so, we had to get the story going first before we could build that deeper characterization. But I am really glad that the anime took advantage of the fact that they did have more freedom to pull those chapters forward, because I think the impact of that was extraordinary in the anime. I feel like I've been rambling for a really long time. Do people actually care to hear this many words? Probably not. Anyway, back to the theorizing. I think Eren is about to have a descent to madness, and I'm so curious how that's gonna go. Sorry for the really long check-in. Hi, so I finished reading volume 5 and watching episode 17. So, okay, for my notebook on the Titans, I have many more notes. So this side story was so important for me to understand the Titans better, because in the side, sorry for the mic, that was close to the microphone, because in the side story, we saw this Titan speak. We saw this Titan bow in front of her. It seems to be trying to fight its natural instincts. Like, we see these Titans largely as this unthinking, instinctual based creatures that are eating for some reason other than nourishment, and are acting according to this almost like zombified nature that they have. But in this one, we see the almost like the Titan is tormented as it's chasing after her and cornering her, but then saying a subject of, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her name, Ymir maybe? It bows before her and says, "Well met." And again, as she asks it questions about, why are you doing what you're doing? Where did you come from? Why are you eating us? And it seems tormented over these questions, like it can't respond, it almost seems like it's unable to respond, like as if there's something not coded, because I don't think that they're machines, but also not, I don't think there's a curse put on them. I don't think they've been encrypted with some sort of code, but it seems like there's something in them that's making it so that it can't respond to her when she's asking these questions, and that is killing it to the point that it's tearing itself apart because it's so upset by this exchange. And then the instincts end up taking over. Clearly, this Titan doesn't want to eat her. Clearly, this Titan doesn't want to kill her. Clearly, this Titan wants to communicate with her and develop some sort of contact or relationship, but it ends up killing her anyway, and then lamenting over her death. Maybe I'm reading that wrong, but it almost looks like tears, at least in the manga. I haven't actually watched it in the anime, even though I watched the anime episodes before I read the volume, because in the anime this is its own side thing. It's not worked into the episodes, so I missed it in anime and have only just read it in manga, though I do want to watch it in the anime. Anyway, the point is, I feel that I've learned so much about the Titans through this exchange, but not learned in the sense that it was explained to me, learned in the sense that I've experienced it along with this character. And now I'm trying to draw conclusions alongside these characters. Okay, so this volume starts off with Eren being put on trial. And in this trial, he learns that not only, he already realizes that his memories of being, when he's in Titan form, his memories are not intact. He's not sure what happened. But now he's learning that he lost control to the point that he actually attacked Mikasa, which is basically the worst thing that could have happened to him. But they're trying to decide his fate. Do we trust him? Do we not trust him? Do we dissect him to try to understand him? Do we kill him outright? I really loved his line when they're trying to decide what to do, and then they start accusing Mikasa as well, and they're like, obviously we need to treat her as a test subject as well and strip her of her humanity as well. Don't trust her. And then he just kind of loses it, and he says, and what's more, everyone just saying whatever speculation happens to be convenient for them. But once you've cut yourselves off from reality, it's all pointless. In the first place, you people have never even seen a Titan, so what are you afraid of? What can we do when the people who have power don't fight? If you're afraid of fighting for your own lives, then please help me. Just shut up and invest everything in me. So I love him calling them out and being like, you are hidden behind the wall. You're not fighting. You're not experiencing these Titans the way we are. Who are you at the top making these decisions when you're hidden while we're the ones dying? Oh, great scene, which ended in Levi pummeling the guy. Oh my goodness. And of course he had to make a show of it, and he had to he did it for a reason, and now Eren is allowed to live and he's under Levi's care. One thing that I took from it though, and that they pointed out, is that his body's regenerating in human form. So when he came out of the Titan the first time and his arm and his leg were back, I thought, oh, because he went into Titan form, he regenerated and now his body is fine. But he's regenerating in human form. That tooth grew back. So I don't know what I'm supposed to take from that, but it's going in the notebook. I was introduced to quite a few characters that I'm watching. Like this character that bit his tongue. I think he only did it once in the manga, but in the anime it happened twice. And I don't know, it just seems suspect. Because I know that Eren has to bite his hand to turn Titan, it's self-inflicted pain. And this character didn't turn Titan when he bit his tongue, but he did do it twice. So It's probably nothing, but it feels like a clue. So I'm watching him, because I don't know, maybe he's a Titan. And then in this volume, in these episodes, we also got introduced to, I'm not sure how to say her name. Is it Hage or Hague? I'll figure it out in the next episodes. I'll listen more closely. But we got introduced to this person who is trying to understand the Titans, unlike everybody else. Everybody else who's seeing them as monsters and we just have to kill them. Clearly, we already know that the Titans are intelligent some of them, at the very least, some of them are intelligent. And now, because we have this side story, we also know that there's some sort of communication and duality. There's some sort of communication that they want to accomplish, and there's a duality inside of them. There's that instinct that causes them to kill, but there's more than just that, at least in some of them. So very, very happy to have this character introduced who is attempting to understand them. Not easy to watch as the Titans are being jabbed in the heart or in the eye to understand their regenerative abilities and to understand how much pain they can endure, if there are other kill points other than behind the neck, to see how they respond, if they'll communicate, how they do in the sun. Don't worry, I took notes throughout all of her experimentation, but I'm learning a lot through her, and she's clearly very passionate about this work. This sort of obsessive nature and desire to understand, fixation, is something that I understand that. I understand being fixated. But I think that the series desperately needs a character like this because the Titans are showing nuance. A nuance that I don't understand yet, but nuance. So having a character that's exploring that nuance and trying to follow those threads is very important. So really, really appreciate this addition. Oh, and then the scene where the cadets were being told, leave. If you don't think you can take this, if you don't think you can be one in this, even the best case, sending another battalion to Wal Maria would mean 5 times the casualties in 20 years of work. Those aren't realistic figures. Like, woo, it was a speech that really brings people to rally. It really makes people want to volunteer, huh? And here they are. In the anime, this scene, oh man, it was good. Oh yeah, so, and then we got this flashback, and I loved the scene of Aaron when he sees everybody, and he's like, oh, okay, so everybody joined except Anne, Marco, and Jean. And then Jean came out and said, Marco is dead. That scene, whew. Okay, so this is what I've been wanting to talk to you about. I want to make sure to get the important details out and discuss, theorize, let you know where my brain is and all the important details, but now let's talk about the female Titan, because, okay, first of all, this scene in the anime of the one Titan that crawls, and it crawls so fast as it chases them, no. Send me behind the wall. Make me one of those bureaucrats. Make me one of those selfish people that doesn't want to die. I'm not going to be chased by that thing. But more importantly, the female Titan was introduced in this volume, and episode 17 did go farther than this volume did, but I haven't read on because I wanted to do this vlog clip before I read on. But I was introduced to her. She's fast. She's clearly intelligent, and she's clearly like Eren and like the colossal Titan that we saw at the beginning of the series that wasn't there, and then poof was there, and then poof wasn't anymore. The one that I circled the footsteps and was like, maybe it's shrinking. Okay, well, maybe it turned human, because apparently these Titans are what Eren is. So, first of all, that scene was amazing. Her chasing them and guarding her neck so that when they tried to fight her, she was protecting herself. So, again, intelligent. We already know they're intelligent. But she knows her weakness and she knows how to defend against it. She's not trying to eat anyone when people are attacking her. She's taking them off and she's being ruthless, shoving them down on the ground or throwing them against a tree or whatever they need to do. She'll handle it. She'll kill them, but she has no need or desire or instinct that she has to obey, that she's subject to. that causes her to eat. She had a mission. She had a goal. Ahriman's concept, his idea of what that goal is to find Eren, which, you know, he might be right. I don't know. But all I do know is that she was ruthless with the ones that were attacking her. But with him, Armin, I don't know how to say his name in English, she was so tender. The way she, like, slowly went to him, lifted his hood so tenderly to check who it was, and then started running again. She didn't seem to need, like, when it wasn't who she wanted, she wasn't angry and squashed him. She seemed tender with him. So as I was watching the episode, because I watched the episode first, as I was watching the episode, I was like, it's his mom. Because she left, when he was a child, she left with her husband. They left to go see the wider world and then didn't come home. So maybe she got turned Titan somehow. And now she just wants to see her son one more time. But I got to thinking about it after I finished watching that episode, and I don't think that that's true. Because I don't remember seeing her in the manga or the anime. I don't remember, maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember seeing her. If I did, it was brief and it didn't stick. And what the series has taught me so far is that I can figure it out. Because Eren, when he went Titan the first time and he was defending Misaka and he was fighting off the Titans, I knew that it was Eren before the series revealed to me that it was Eren, because his hair looked the same and because he was being protective over Misaka and because I had been trying to figure out the Titan stuff and the clues were there. So I got to understand that before the series spelled it out for me. So what the series is teaching me is you already know who that is. Pay attention to what that Titan looks like. You can identify them. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've learned and that's what I'm taking away from it. So I think I can figure this out. So what I did, because I watched the episode first, say it again. So what I did was when I went back and read the volume, I tried to pay close attention to what everybody looked like to see if I could match the hair, because the hair was that was the biggest giveaway for Eren being Titan. And my first guess was this girl. Petra, I think is her name. Because she was introduced in this volume, she was introduced as someone who's very, very skilled. So she seems to be like above the crop, much like Eren is. And I still do think that Misaka can turn Titan too. But I could be wrong about that. So I thought, and her timidity, I was reading as a cover, like to make her unassuming, to make people not suspect her. But then when we had this strategic scene where they were going down the alleyways and trying to find the Titans and throwing up their flares, like this whole section, I was watching her and she seemed active the entire time. I couldn't identify a time where she seemed to pull away or disappear and have an opportunity to turn Titan. She seemed to be active the entire time, even if she wasn't on page always with the people that I was following. So I don't think it's her. But she was my lead suspect until the end of the volume. So I don't have a guess anymore. I'm just trying to pay attention because I think it must be someone that I know. Because like it wouldn't be a very cool reveal if it was just like, oh yeah, it's that chick. You haven't met her yet, right? So I think it must be someone that I know. It could be someone that's already died, by my understanding, because Eren died. He didn't die. But, you know, he was eaten, and the whole world thought he was dead. And he wasn't dead, and he became Titan. So it could be someone that's been eaten, and the series thinks he's dead right now. But she's dead right now, but she isn't. But also the Colossal Titan, who apparently I need to figure out who that is too. But also the Colossal Titan, assuming when a Titan appears and disappears, like the Colossal Titan in Volume 1, assuming that when a Titan disappears, it's because they've turned human again. Because Eren is human, and then he turns Titan, and then like his Titanness kind of like weaves out of him. And then just like is there. And then when he turns human, I assume it like unweaves and he's a human again. So if a Titan, like the Colossal Titan in Volume 1, when that Colossal Titan was not there, that was a person that was standing at the wall in human form and then turned Titan and then, whoa, there's a Titan here. And then they start fighting. and then the dust is everywhere surrounding everything, and then the Titan turns back into human form. And it's like, where's the Titan? Where is the Titan? Right? So if that's happening, it should be someone alive. It should be someone that we perceive as alive, because then that Titan is just walking around. So they're going to be seen. So if it's a person that everybody thinks is dead, then they'd be like, hey, you were eaten, right? So it should be someone alive. Is this entertaining to anyone? Okay, I'm just going to stop talking now. I'm going to read some more, and I will have a theory before it's revealed. I don't know when it's going to be revealed, though. It might be revealed in the next volume. I don't think it will. Bye. Okay, there is in fact a traitor among us. Sorry for the green screen again. Not getting my bit. So there is in fact a traitor among us. There's a spy that is in our midst that, and that's the reason that they were kept in the dark. That's the reason why the cadets were not told what was going on when people were dying, and they were just meant to continue on or not. Levi did tell Eren, think for yourself, because I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And that ended up being a really big theme in this. Hold on. Oh, I'm talking about volume 7, by the way. Anyway, so they captured the female Titan, and they were able to bind her up, and they're going to try to cut her out. The whole sequence here with them capturing her and Levi standing on her head and talking to her and saying, okay, I'm gonna cut your arms off. They'll regenerate. He actually asked her permission. Could we cut off your limbs? They'll grow right back, right? And then she screams and calls the other Titans to her, and then they start eating her alive. Horrifying. Which they did to Eren as well. And I think my question... Yeah, gross. Ew. Eating her alive. Anyway, this volume was really, and these episodes were really, really impactful for me. Partially because I think one thing that it really emphasized is obviously that we don't know. In these dire situations, we do our best to make the best decision, but it's a complicated situation, and it's one that's foreign to us. It's one that we don't fully understand yet. The female Titan and the dynamics that she's bringing into the situation, coupled with Eren and the dynamics that he's bringing into the situation. This is all very new, and they don't know how they're supposed to respond. So they're just making decisions, hoping that it's the right one, just hoping that they're picking the best option, but they don't know. And Levi made that clear in the last volume when Eren considered going Titan and then ended up trusting them. When he was considering going Titan and everybody was saying, just trust us, Levi said, go Titan if you want to go Titan. I don't know. I don't know that we're doing the right thing. I don't know what's right now. I'm just trying to make the right decision, but I don't know if what the decision I make is correct. And here we have the people once again, the troops once again saying, you chose us then, and this is the result. It's pretty difficult making the right choice. As the female Titan, brilliantly, as she has stored up some of the gear, and so now once she's been eaten and now she's back in her human form, she can put on the gear and then zoom away and then continue her mission, continue killing people, hanging them in the trees. It's horrifying. And so now once again, they realize, oh no, the traitor is among us, she looks like us, and we have to identify which one it is, and we have to take her out. And they want Eren to run, and they want to face her as she turns Titan again. And they're telling her, trust us, or they're telling Eren, trust us, run. And so Eren decides, okay, I trust you. And he feels good about it. He feels real good about this decision. He's like, they are capable. They're strong. They've built up this teamwork and this understanding. Like, they're going to win. And then they're utterly destroyed. They're utterly destroyed. It's horrible. And so it kind of reinforces that feeling, that theme in this volume of we don't know. Like, we can have all the confidence in the world that this is the right move. This is what we need to do in order to save humanity. But at the end of the day, like, we don't know how it's actually going to turn out. We can't know until it's all done and over with if we made the right call or not. And that's horrifying. Like, that's so... it's heavy. So Eren turns Titan and just goes ham. This Titan fight between Eren and the female Titan in the anime was so good. Oh, it was wild. So she ends up winning the fight and eating through and storing Eren in her mouth and running. So, like, why though? Like, what is this? We've confirmed now, all but confirmed now, that the female Titan is among our ranks. She is one of the cadets. She's one of the troops. I can narrow down who she is based off of who's been active in this mission. So I think that whoever the female Titan is must be someone I know, someone who I've met. Otherwise it would be an unsatisfying revelation. It has to be someone that I've met, and it has to be someone that hasn't been involved in this mission. So that does narrow down the prospects significantly. And she needs to be a woman, probably, and looks somewhat like this female Titan. So I think I just need to flip through old volumes and see if I can identify her. Anyway, for some reason, she's trying to keep Eren, store him in her mouth, and run. And where she's going, where she's taking him, who she's taking him to, I still don't know. I don't have even a theory. I don't know what she's doing. Like, it's been, the theory is, it's been said in the manga and in the anime that these Titans were made as tools to kill humans. So, like, there is, and she's a spy, so there is a greater plan afoot. There is a greater plan that's the enemy is working toward, but I haven't even pieced together a theory of why this is happening. I don't know. But anyway, she tries to get away. Levi and Misaka chase after him. Oh, that's an even better. I'll say this. I was kind of like, you didn't see it because they did it more on the Discord. I was kind of dogging the artwork at first, but it's already really getting a lot better. Like, some of these panels are stellar. So anyway, Levi and Misaka go after the female Titan and fight her and ultimately decide that saving Eren is more important than completing the mission, which I can't imagine how hard this decision was, especially for Levi. But that was what they chose, and they left the female Titan behind, which I think is wise, because over and over and over again, they have believed that it was in the bag. They were like, we got it. She's vulnerable enough, we got it. And then she regenerates one eyeball faster and regains her sight and then starts decimating them. So she is more capable than they ever could have guessed. And they have lost countless lives because of that very thing. So to leave her in the forest here instinctually seems dumb. Like, look at how destroyed she is. Just go cut the back of her neck. But, she could harden the back of her neck. But I think it's wise to realize she is so much more powerful than we're prepared to fight today. And we've already lost so many people. Let's not continue making that mistake. Let's get Eren out of here and let's regroup and realize we made the wrong call. We missed it. We thought we were doing what was right and we failed. So let's go home with the few lives we have left. And that's exactly what they did. And this final, like, tiny little bit of the manga, like a few pages, first of all, great. They were wonderful. Very, very good pages. But the anime added a scene. The anime added a scene that it was so good. When they had collected as many bodies as they could and they were taking them home, and it was such a reflection of the opening scene of the series where they brought back just an arm of one of the soldiers and they said, this is all we could collect, but we brought this back to you. And the point was, like, we lost his life tragically, but we want to bring you something, some physical part of him to help you mourn or, like, process. We want to bring you back as much as we can. So here they are collecting these bodies, putting them on the wagon, trying to get them back home. And then the Titans start coming again. And the decision that they ultimately had to make was to release the bodies and sacrifice these people once again in order to make it out alive. And their lives are already gone. These are just their bodies. But that doesn't make it hurt less. Like, the fact that in reality these people are already gone doesn't change how badly it hurts to once again have to cut them loose for the greater good, for their own lives. And it's like they have to mourn them again. And there was also a great scene with Levi where he handed some people who were like, you killed them to do this. He handed them a patch. And he was like, this proves that they were here, that they were alive. This is what you get to bring home of the person. Beautiful scene. And then the scene that was in the manga, that was also in the anime and beautifully told in both places, is them returning to the city. And again, it parallels that opening scene where the heroes come home and Eren and Misaka are looking at these heroes and they, they admire them and they want to join this force one day. And the heroes that come home have these haunted eyes, this horrified look, and they're mourning and they're saying, it wasn't worth it. We accomplished nothing. These lives were lost and no ground was gained. We gained nothing. And now here they come home and these children are excited to see them, and they see like the honor and the glory of war, and these adults are horrified and they're angry and they're so furious at the lives lost and for what. And our soldiers come home with their haunted eyes, and Eren comes home absolutely destroyed over his worldview, that childhood piece of himself, I think, just like dying, just collapsing, where he realizes that there is no glory in this war, that he's left with comrades lost, with every decision made wrong, with the plan an utter and complete failure, returning home saying, and for what? For nothing. It was worthless. And that's what he gets to return home. I just like, oh, it was so good. It was such a good bringing everything back to the beginning and seeing how Eren's perspective on what this would be has completely shattered and destroyed everyone that's returned home. The scene with Petra's dad showing Eren the letter and being like, she wrote about you. I don't know about marriage so soon. And I just, I want to talk to you before I talk to her. Like, despite the so few people returning back from this mission, he doesn't even consider the idea that his daughter might not be among the ranks that have returned home. Just, man, the series is doing a really good job of showing how stark and horrifying war is, and that it's terror. Like, it's the people that have to fight in this war are terrorized by it. Like, they're horrified. They're destroyed by it. It's not this glorious celebration. I shudder to think what comes next, because Eren is about to go stand before council again. And I don't know, man. I don't know how this kid is going to keep being okay. Hi, it's hours later, and this is my cell phone, so sorry for the cell phone footage, but my camera's set up for filming because I just did a video, and I don't want to reset it. So I'm going back through and just flipping through, quickly reading back through the story again, because I know that it's probably going to be revealed who the female Titan is in the next volume, because season 1 ends after the next volume, and I just assume that the reveal is coming. So I want to go back through and just try to piece together who the female Titan is. So far the information I have is that she's among us. She is within our military ranks. She's a spy working for, I assume she's working for someone. The reason I think that is because it's been made clear that the Titans are used as a tool for the purposes of killing people. Like, there seems to be a greater scheme at play. I don't know who is in charge of the scheme. I don't know. I mean, I do suspect Eren's dad because of that injection scene that's been revisited a couple of times. But other than that, I don't know who's behind the scheme. I don't know what the motivation could possibly be. Like, I don't know. But I do think that there is a wider mastermind behind it. And I don't think that the female Titan is the mastermind. So I think that she is a pawn in the scheme. Why? I don't know. But I know that she probably doesn't have a demeanor of being vindictive or angry, or like, she probably isn't coming off in a I'm an antagonist kind of way. I know that she has been a Titan. I know that she's been among their ranks for 5 years or less, because when they were keeping people in the dark in Volume 7, they mentioned that it was someone who they only trusted with the plan those that have been in the military for 5 years. So I know that she's a new recruit. I assume that she must be someone who's been at the forefront of the story, just because narratively it wouldn't be very interesting to have like this big reveal be like that one character that was on 2 panels 5 volumes ago. It's going to be someone that's going to have some sort of narrative impact that she betrayed us all. So it's someone in our ranks. It's someone that probably doesn't have a vindictive demeanor, though that one's a guess. It's someone who is a newish recruit. It's someone that's probably been at the forefront. It's someone that's probably been a Titan been actively acting as a Titan longer than Eren has, because she has more control over being a Titan than Eren does. And it's someone who was not in Volume 7 or Volume 6. It's someone who was not around while the female Titan was rampaging. So that does narrow things down significantly. It's someone in the forefront who joined the ranks around the same time as Eren did. Doesn't have to be at the same time, but around that time. And someone who has been, who wasn't present recently. So it can't be someone that's in the Survey Corps. So I should be able to suss this out. Now, my first guess was Krista. My first guess was Krista. One, because she joined the ranks at the same time as Eren, so it just makes sense for her to be on this page, to be like introduced but not get a ton of attention. And I do like the idea, because Krista, I believe, is the one that is just like very kind of like soft and sweet, and everybody has a crush on her. So I like the idea of her actually being a rampaging female Titan that's betraying everyone. But she was there during the female Titan attack. So it's not her. Then my second guess was Hannah, I'm pretty sure is her name, because her boyfriend died. So, like maybe she got vindictive, which I just said I'm not suspecting her to be vindictive, but maybe. But also she should be acting as a Titan more frequently than Eren, or at least practicing being a Titan more frequently than Eren, since she has better control of her Titan powers. And I don't remember if Hannah was in the attack or not that just happened. I don't remember if she's in the ranks that fought against the female Titan. I also don't remember her hair color in the anime, so maybe she's not even blonde. But those are my leading suspects in Volume 1. On to Volume 2. Okay, Volume 2, I'm done flipping through that, and I have fewer leads than I did at the end of Volume 1. I've been sharing my theories on my Discord, on my Patreon, and they let me know that Hannah, or whatever her name is, the one that I suspected, the only one that I actually retained a suspicion on, was off-screen killed, and it just wasn't ever mentioned in the manga. So she's no longer a suspect. So then in Volume 2, I thought, well, she kind of looks like the female Titan. I don't know her very well, but maybe. It turns out she's dead too. So I have no leads. On to Volume 3. No new leads for Volume 3. This is starting to drive me crazy. I thought I would have at least some leads. I thought I would at least have some guesses. I have no guesses. I'm gonna lose it. I think I might have a theory. I think I need to read Volume 5. I need to reread Volume 5 first, just to confirm something. I might have a theory. Hold on. Volume 5, I have my guess. And the female Titan shows up in Volume 6, so this is it. Is it Annie? Because, okay, so if it is, I'm an idiot. Because she has been in the forefront from the beginning. She joined the recruits with Eren. She's been present in all of these scenes that I've been flipping through and rereading. And I haven't suspected her once because I like her. So I'm just like, oh, it's not Annie. I love Annie. Let's move on. I didn't even think about her as I'm reading these scenes. I'm just like, yeah, it's a great scene. Love this. Also, her hair's tied up. So I'm just like, she doesn't have the hair. But I started to become suspicious in Volume 4 because of this whole scene where she demolishes Eren in the hand-to-hand combat. And she seems, okay, so she has this conversation about her dad training her up to do all this stupid work. And I thought that we were going to get a flashback of like her dad being super controlling or something to build up her character, but she's not in the ranks with Eren anymore because she chose to fight in the inner wall. So I don't think that scene's coming. I mean, it still might. They could still like spend time together, but anyway, she has this whole scene where she pins Eren down and she says, "My father was like you two, carried away with ideals that had nothing to do with reality. Even as a kid, I knew it was crap. But my dad made me learn these pointless moves and I was too young to defy him. I refuse to be one of those morons who enjoys playing soldier in this pathetic world." Okay, I thought this was a scene foreshadowing her talking about some trauma with her dad, but is it actually just meant to be a clue to us that she doesn't believe in any of this? Why are you here, Annie? If you don't believe in any of this, why are you here? Also, hold on, I'm not done. I have more to say. Hold on. She also seems like she doesn't really show a lot of emotion. Except for when Eren was like complimenting her moves and she was like, "I'll teach you. I'll show you. I'll show you." Oh shucks. I didn't pull the scene. I think it was in volume 3. Hold on. It was in volume 2, the scene that I was looking for. In this scene when Eren is, going Titan and he's being attacked by the other Titans and everybody is freaking out. Nobody knows what to do. She is, well, did they know it was Eren yet? No, they didn't even know it was Eren yet. Okay. When this Titan that they didn't even know was Eren yet was being attacked by all the other Titans and getting eaten to death, Annie was one of the only ones who said, "Maybe we should trust him." It was her and, this guy. What's his name? Hold on. Rainer. Okay, so these two were the only ones that were like, "Okay, but this Titan seems legit. Maybe we should trust him." What about the possibility that this Titan could become an ally? Don't you think it would be a weapon more powerful than any cannon? And everybody else is like, "An ally? A Titan as an ally?" Other than Misaka, which, you know, well, does she even want that? Yeah, Misaka wants it too. Which I also still low-key suspect, but a whole lot less now. That might have just been like anime strength back in the beginning of volume 2. Anyway, she was one of the very few people that was like, "Maybe we trust the Titan." And then finally, nail in the coffin, she was one of the only people in our recruits that we put a focus on that didn't want to join with everybody else. She was in the interior. She said that from the beginning. She didn't change her mind like Jean did. She was like, "I am not interested in joining you guys. You do what you want. I don't care." And Armin said, "Oh, you must be cool because you must like care about us and stuff. Maybe you're actually nice." And she's like, "No, that's not that. I just want to save myself." So, okay, she's had a ton of focus, but she's not been so focused that I've paid enough attention to her to even suspect her. She does seem totally disenchanted with this whole thing. Like, she does not seem like she actually believes in the cause whatsoever. She just wants to be in the interior and doesn't want to die. But also she seems to be quite jaded about the way things are going and seems to want to help Eren. And she's blonde. That's my best guess. I feel like I don't feel confident. I don't feel confident at all, actually, in this guess. I feel like I'm very likely very wrong. This is what I've been doing for the last hour, so I'm gonna go get dinner now. I think it'll be revealed next volume, because it's the end of season 1, so it just seems like it, so I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk. Hello, I have finished reading volume 8, or most of volume 8. I actually stopped a chapter before it ended, as well as finished watching season 1. So in this clip, I'm going to wrap up the vlog, finally. We're going to talk about the final volume, final episodes, how the season ended. It was amazing. And then after we do all that, for those that want to stick around, I plan on going through my notebook. I have been keeping notes on Titans, characters, world building elements. I'm just trying to take notes, you know, I'm just trying to like work through what I can. So I'll go through the notebook with you as well, if that's something that you're interested in. So volume 8 was so good. Oh, the conclusion was so good. I loved the conversation, and I kind of alluded to it in the review. I'm filming this part after I filmed the review. I alluded to this in the review, but I loved this conversation between Annie and the other military police. First of all, getting to see the military police and how they function, that they're basically a bunch of like who Jean was before he went through his character arc. That's what the military police, that's what we saw of them. It's a bunch of kids that are looking to slack off, or adults that have been slacking off for a long time and taking advantage of their higher position and not doing what they should with the position that they have. I loved the stuff that Anne said here about how the normal people, like it's common for you to be considered, for you to be worthless or evil, for you to be selfish, essentially, to have your own ambitions, to be just trying to look out for yourself and not actually care about the people around you or the greater good. Even down to herself, she's like, I think we're worthless and we're definitely evil. You certainly can't call us upright, but doesn't that just make us regular people? So her argument, and I think that this reinforces a lot of the other discussions that are had throughout this arc, her argument is that the average person is choosing themselves, even though we need each other, even though we need community and we need to band together. That's what the world at this time needs. That's just not what people are choosing to do. The average person is choosing to live for their own self-interest, and that's normal. And it's the extraordinary people that are actually trying something different, like Aaron. I loved, oh my goodness, the scene. Okay, wait, first of all, Armin, who snuck into Anne's area, the inner wall, snuck to talk to Annie and said, will you help us? We need your assistance to get Aaron out of the city. And he convinced her to escort them. And okay, first of all, Annie's the female Titan. I really wasn't convinced. I wanted to solve it, and so I spent the time trying to solve it, but then once I got to the end and I pieced it together and I was like, all right, my best guess is Annie, I still didn't feel confident. I still was just like, yeah, we'll see. And so the reveal in the anime, because I watched the anime before I read the manga now, the reveal in the anime, I was still like, wait, no way, it's Annie. And we were on the steps. They were going down the steps and I was just going along with them. And then Annie's like, I'm scared. And that seems so out of character. And I loved Aaron's line when he was like, no, if you can throw me over your shoulder onto the ground, you're not scared. You're perfectly fine. Let's go. But she didn't want to go into the tunnel, and they kept trying to convince her. And then she made the observation, the streets have been pretty empty for a while, huh? And then you cut to all the people that are hiding, waiting to ambush her if they can't get her down into that tunnel. And they can't get her to go down, so then the people ambush, and she had the ring. And the thing is, even though I did technically guess that it was Annie, I wasn't confident because I missed the biggest clue. Like, Armin is so smart to have, first of all, noticed that she was wearing Marco's gear, which I couldn't have known that. I didn't work on his gear with Armin, so like that one was beyond my abilities. But the fact that, you know, the female Titan squared up just like Annie did in the combat scene, which I feel so dumb in retrospect because I fixated on that scene. Like, as I was rereading it, I was like, there's a clue here. There's something I'm supposed to be pulling from this. And at first, when I read it the first time, I thought, okay, her dad. There's something that I need to know about her dad. He's probably going to be involved in the story later on. He's probably maybe behind some things. And then the second time I read, oh no, this is telling us that it might be Annie because she doesn't want to play soldier and she's really repulsed by the way the systems are functioning at the moment. And it was the combat stuff. That was what I was supposed to pick up from that scene. I feel so dumb. So there's that, and then the fact that she reacted to a nickname that only people that were in their group would have known. So Armin, like, big win for him that he was able to piece it together. He was able to see the main clues that went completely over my head. And he he was able to piece together that it was Annie. And here I am just like, maybe her? She's blonde. Like, she seems rebellious. She wanted the Titan to join, she wanted them to trust the Titan before we knew it was Eren. You know, my clues were very feeble. Hers were very good. I mean, his were very good. Anyway, when they ambush her, and even when Armin went up to her and he was like, can you help us? And she said, yeah, I'll help you. And then she slips the ring on. I was like, what's that about? And then when she did it, when she flicked out the I don't know, the sharp part, and then stuck her thumb and turned Titan, and the animation when it showed Annie, and then the Titan stood up around her, and then she went into the Titan. Oh, it was amazing. That whole scene was incredible. And again, the anime did expand on that scene, just made it last longer. You know, the struggle with Eren not being able to turn Titan, really not wanting to fight Annie, and how long that took, and just the whole sequence, I think, was amplified by the small changes that the anime made in all of that. I love Mikasa just calling Eren out and just like tough loving him here, just being like, are you serious? You just watched her turn Titan. Do you still not actually think that it's Annie? Do you really still suspect? Do you just not want to fight her? Because we're all dying. And again, the anime illustrated more how much of a burden it was on everybody else that Eren wasn't turning Titan, that he wasn't able to, that they were all just like, okay, we gotta fight, like we have to go take this on if Eren's not gonna do it. It was just, it was great. And I do find it interesting that once again in the manga, it was the words, the world is a cruel place. And it was Mikasa who said it to him, but it was the world is a cruel place. And that's what made Eren reflect and then finally be able to turn Titan. And I brought this up in the review yesterday as well, that has seemed to be a theme motivator for Armin. It was that the world was a cruel place to him, and yet his friends fought for him. For Mikasa, it was like an acceptance that the world is a cruel place. It is dog eat dog. And so like she just has to stand up and fight in it too. And then once again, it's re-emphasized here. I think my understanding of the themes that were set up in season 1 isn't complete. Like I still have a lot of puzzle pieces in my hand that I didn't even talk about in the review. So hopefully I'll get a better picture of that soon. But look at these panels. Look at this spread. Look at these two fight. Look at Eren actually, well, he took a hit there. Hold on. There. Actually land a meaningful hit on Annie. Oh, it was so good. This reflection from Eren was really interesting as well. But there were times, so he was talking about how she, in that scene that I fixated on, the hand-to-hand combat scene, where she said that all this hand-to-hand combat, this close combat stuff is dumb. It's not going to do anything for us. And he said, you always had this look in your face like you thought everyone around you was stupid and hopeless. You always seemed bored. But there were times when you came alive, when you got to show off your hand-to-hand skill. You said that they were pointless crap and that your father forced you, but it never looked to me like you thought of them that way. I remember thinking that you were a bad liar. So I don't actually know what to do with that, honestly. It seems important, especially with her memory at the end of, before she turned into a diamond, when she was remembering the words that her father spoke to her, that he apologized, that he didn't do as well as he could have done. But then he said, if the world turns against you, if no one is your ally, please just come back to me. So I think her father, obviously there was something there. Like maybe he trained her too hard. Maybe he pushed her too hard. Maybe he wasn't kind enough to her. Maybe he was cruel in his training. But it seems like there is some sort of tenderness there, and that she looks back on those memories and maybe has some mixed feelings, but also maybe some love as well. And in the anime especially, it emphasized that she was crying when she was remembering that moment with her father after she had been captured. So I feel like that's tied into this. Like she actually loves it. Maybe she's bitter about the training she had to undergo, but she actually loves what it's accomplished in her. I don't know. I a lot of speculation in all of that. One of the best scenes of the entire season was when Annie was climbing the wall. Her fingers were indenting the wall as she was gripping it, going up it, and Mikasa flew up there, cut her fingers off, and then tapped her head with her boot and said, Annie fall. And then down she went. I love Mikasa so much. And that scene was one of the greatest scenes for her and for the series so far. It was so epic. Oh my goodness. So again, sorry to continue comparing the anime and the manga. I hope that's not annoying. But again, the anime did elongate this scene when Annie had this vision. She is crying in the manga as well. It's just more emphasized, I think, in the anime. And then Eren hesitates, and it's a very distinct and important thing that he hesitates here, because they could have had a different fate if he hadn't hesitated at the sight of her tears. And I think that that's Eren's humanity, and I imagine that that's probably a really big theme going forward as well, because that's something that's been touched on, and that's that Eren hasn't forsaken his humanity yet. He hasn't surrendered it. And it's being viewed in many ways as a weakness to him. Like, if he would just surrender his humanity and just do what needs done, they could go a lot farther. But I also think that if he does surrender his humanity, because I think an unraveling is coming for Eren based off of some other clues, like, you know, his crazy eyes when he comes out of Titan form sometimes, but not all the time. And just a few things have me thinking, and my friend that I'm buddy reading this with as well, we're thinking he's probably going down a dark road. So I imagine that's going to tie in to the emphasis on, if you would have surrendered your humanity, then you wouldn't have hesitated, or you wouldn't have done, I don't remember the other context in which this conversation was brought up, but I also think that that's going to be a negative when that time comes. Again, I don't know. But anyway, she does turn diamond, and so now she's protected. They have captured her, but they can't force information out of her. They can't get to her. They can't do anything. So once again, they have done this mission where people have died, homes have been destroyed, people have been displaced, and for what? Was it considered a success? Ultimately, no, because yes, they have Annie, but they can't do anything with her. Anyway, this season ended with the reveal that there are Titans hidden in the wall. It was in the anime too after the credits, but in the manga, I think it's more clear. Maybe that's on me though, that Mikasa was still on the wall, and the cracks, I think it was that the cracks that Annie had formed with her finger indentations then weakened the wall, and then it just crumbled around that area. And then you can see what looks like sleepy Titan. Like, maybe it's been hidden in there and it's asleep, and it wasn't supposed to wake up, but it's now been awakened. How many are in the wall? Like, what does this even mean? What does this even imply? We still have the colossal and the armored Titans that I thought were going to be our next problem. But apparently we have a lot bigger of a problem than I thought we were going to have. I did start to read the next chapter, which is why there's a sticky note there, but I stopped because I realized that it was advancing beyond where the anime was, and I didn't want to, since I labeled the discussions season 1, I didn't want to go beyond season 1. So those are my thoughts on the first 8 volumes, first 26 episodes. That's it. Now I am going to go over my notebook if anyone is interested in that, just some information that I've compiled. Actually, let me go take dinner out of the oven real quick, and then I'll do that. Just a second. Okay, the notebook. So for anyone who might find it interesting, here's the information that I have about the Titans. I'll go through it quickly because I think I've pretty much already gone over most of it with you in the past. So they have a high body heat. I know that this is important because it keeps getting re-emphasized. Every time someone touches a Titan, they burn. They bring it up over and over again. They choose their form. Most of them choose male human, so I assume that they can pick something else. They're sexless, but somehow reproduce. They can regenerate if you don't hit their weak spot or their kill spot. The back of the neck is the kill point for all Titans. So I'm still fuzzy on why. Because it seems that this series is leading me to believe that the only Titans that have a human in their neck are the hybrid Titans, the ones like Eren and Annie, the colossal Titan, the armored Titan, probably the Titan inside the wall. But the ones that we normally see, they are not apparently controlled by humans, but they have the same kill spot, which is where the human is stored. So I'm still unsure about that, to be honest. They can appear and disappear on an instant, which I now know means they're either going Titan or not going Titan, and probably only the hybrid Titans have that ability. They are intelligent. They do eat humans, but they don't need to do so in order to survive. And again, that's more of the classic Titan, not the hybrids. A Titan corpse vaporizes after death. They can speak. And there was in the side story, the Titan that met the I don't remember her name. It's like Ilmer or something like that. The Titan that met the woman who is making the journal entries. They are able to speak, and he did bow, that very low, like posturing yourself on the ground. And it seemed unable to speak on certain things. It seemed like it wanted to communicate, but certain things it couldn't communicate, as if there was something holding it back. Or maybe after Hanji, I know I said Haig in the review, maybe Hanji. I know that Hanji said that Shawnee and Bean were also limited in what they were able to say. So it could just be that they have limited speech in general, or it could be that they can't speak on certain things. It was mentioned that the main theory within the manga is that they were made as tools to kill humans. And then specifically, stuff that I got from Hanji's speculation is that sunlight gives them vitality. The 4 meter became lethargic quickly, and the 7 meter was lethargic much more slowly, but they only require sunlight to survive. No food, no water or air is necessary. Bean, which is the 7 meter, showed high pain, and the 4 meter showed little pain, or at least expressed little pain, but that might not be to do with their classification. It could just be that they're individuals that have individual reactions to things, which again leads me back to they have the kill spot in the neck. So is there some humanity in them? Like there is a human controlling them. I think there might be. The more I think about it, the more that's my theory, that there really is a human in every single Titan. And I don't know what makes the hybrid Titans, as I've been calling them, the ones like Eren and Annie, what makes them more intelligent and seemingly more of a bridge between Titans and humans, whereas the other Titans seem full Titans. I don't know. I kind of wonder if there's a human in all of them. Maybe that's dumb, though. Also, their bodies are extremely light. They look like they should be really heavy. They are light. Okay, some stuff on Mikasa. Love Mikasa. So she is obviously extremely attached and loyal to Eren. He saved her as a kid, became her new family, and she is very, very attached to him. She's also extremely skilled in action. She did show that extreme strength in Volume 2. She seems lacking in fear, but it's actually, I think, just a suppression of emotions, because when Eren was eaten, she clearly was afraid and panicking, and she was like, you know, pardon me for being selfish, pardon me for thinking about my own interests, but, you know, is Eren around? And then Armin had to tell her, no, he's not. And she just kind of like turned it off and was like, fine, whatever, let's move. We don't have time to mourn. But then she was impulsive and made big mistakes. She has a brand on her wrist. I don't know if that's going to come back around, but in her flashback, her mom was wrapping up her arm and telling her this is a brand that everybody in the family has. It's something that you'll pass down to your child. She is the last descendant from Asia, and her mom was from Asia and her dad was not, so she is mixed. I don't know if that will ever come back around or if that has to do with the branding, but I do love her because she is so tough and so loyal, but I think that there's a lot of vulnerability and tenderness in her underneath all of that. Next person is Marco, because I got some characters mixed up, so I had to move Marco forward. This is the top 10, by the way. The top 10 from Volume 2. I just wrote down all their names, and a lot of the speculation is after the fact. After we had a female Titan and I realized that I had to figure out who she was, I started making notes. So these notes may be missing some things, but Marco is a doe-eyed sweetheart who believes in the cause and wants to be able to work near the king and wants to be able to serve and work for the greater good. He's one of those special people Annie was talking about, and he died in action. And I'm really sad. I really liked Marco. I know he didn't get a lot of page time, but I really liked him. Next on my page is Bertolt. And I don't even know who that is. He was in the top 10. I don't even know if he's still alive. Like, I can't even tell you what he looks like off the top of my head. I have no notes on that kid. Annie, I have notes. She is standoffish. She doesn't seem to care to make friends or alliances or good impressions whatsoever. She did get some special treatment, though. There was an interesting line in, I think it was volume 2, when it was right around the time where they were doing the hand-to-hand combat stuff, and it was talking about how the drill sergeants were really hard on some of the kids, and on other, oh, so it wasn't volume 2. It would have been volume 4? 3? It doesn't matter. How the drill sergeants were really hard on some kids that needed to be toughened up, you know, the ones that were a little bit soft, but then there were others who have been through things, who have seen some stuff, and they don't need all of that. And so the drill sergeant seemed to just kind of pass her by. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I mean, the drill sergeant clearly knows something about her past. She thinks the system as it is sucks, and she won't play soldier, and she was hunting Aaron on a mission to take him somewhere. Aaron, he wants to live outside of the wall. He wants to kill all of the Titans. He had this line when he was saving Mikasa in that flashback. This is only natural. This is what should happen to you. As he was stabbing the kidnappers, he felt like this was the order of things. This should happen to you, which I suppose is essentially like, you deserve this kind of mentality. But it just, for some reason, it stood out to me. I felt like it needed to be written down. Memory loss around his dad. Memory loss when he turns Titan. Turning Titan is instinctual. He can choose what class Titan he turns into, just like other Titans can choose their form. He does have a huge amount of determination. Can regenerate in human form too. When Levi knocked his tooth out, it came right back. To turn Titan, he has to both injure himself, but also have a specific agenda. That was the whole thing with the spoon and only an arm turned Titan. And the first time he turned Titan, when he came back, he had a nosebleed and he had crazy eyes. So it seemed like it was really negatively affecting him. Now, that didn't seem to happen every time he turned Titan, so I don't know if that was just like a first time thing, or if it's just not obvious every time that it's slowly destroying him or stripping him of his humanity or something. But I just wanted to note that at least one time it seemed to be a bad thing for him. John I talked about in the review, but when everything started, he saw the MPs as an escape from this suffocating frontline town. It's an avenue of safety and comfort, but then Marco speaks to him about being a leader, and then after Marco's death, he decided that he wasn't going to let that be in vain, and he joined up the Survey Corps and started being a true leader, making sacrifices for others and just really being awesome. Raynor is another one that I really don't have very many notes on, just that when Anne pointed out, hey, maybe we should trust that Titan, he agreed, but so did Mikasa, so that's not really anything. Connie was swayed by Aaron's passionateness to join the Survey Corps and fight, and he wouldn't give up hope in desperate situations. Connie is another one that I don't have a lot of notes on, much like Marco, but that I just really like. He just seems like a sweetheart. Sasha, I don't have a lot of notes on her. She's a wild card, food motivated, and doesn't mind getting in trouble. I don't have a lot of notes on her yet. I just love her. Like, I just think that she is odd and could do anything at any time. Like, I have no way to predict what she's going to be, but I love her for her chaotic energy. Krista is a peacemaker, a sweetheart, and everyone wants to marry her. Don't have a lot of notes on her, but she's sweet. I like her. And then Dr. Yeager, I went over everything about Dr. Yeager in the review. So just super quick, he's the town's benefactor. Aaron having an inquisitive mind made him want to show Aaron what was in the basement. Mom's death made him act crazy and inject something into Aaron's arm. A disease was killing a large number of people in the town, and he came in with an antibody for it, and it seemed to save everyone. And his whereabouts are currently unknown. Levi. So Levi, oh my goodness, there was this side story that I don't think it didn't get adapted into any of the anime proper, but I was told this morning that there are a couple of side stories, animations, a couple of anime short stories for Levi that I should watch. So I haven't watched those yet, but there was a side story in the manga that depicted Levi as having he basically has like a germophobia. He doesn't want to touch people. He doesn't like getting dirty. Very efficient, very skilled fighter. But that was used to illustrate his kindness, because even though he comes off as aloof, even though he comes off as if he doesn't care, he's so kind. In the side story, it illustrated his disdain for dirtiness, for germs, for touching people. But when a soldier was dying and held out his hand and asked Levi if he would carry on for him, Levi gripped his hand, blood, dirt, grime, everything, gripped his hand and told him yes. I don't have it in front of me here, so I can't quote it perfectly, but that was a really powerful moment to just show that despite his mannerisms and despite his preferences, like, he's there for his soldiers. He cares about them. That was illustrated again in the anime. I think it was an anime only scene when there were characters that were really troubled over not being able to bring their comrade's body home, and Levi ripped off the badge and he was like, look, this was his. As far as I'm concerned, this proves that he was here and he was important. And he gave them kind of a touch point, a grounding point to remember their comrade and to feel some sort of closure. Like, he's just a very thoughtful person. He doesn't appear that because he's so cool. Like, he appears aloof and uncaring and cold, but in fact, I think he would die for any one of his soldiers. I think that's pretty much, I mean, I didn't like read off my bullet points for him, but that's pretty much the notes for him. And then I have Armin, who wasn't in the top 10 and wasn't, I don't know, the dad and Levi. He comes in the beginning, he is portrayed as scared and weak. He was told to be a technician due to being academically at the top of his class, but he chose a survey corps because he didn't want to take the easy way out. He wanted to further the mission in the best way possible. He wanted to do what he could do. I don't know. Again, I don't have the quote directly in front of me. He was the one that birthed in Aaron the desire to see the outside world. He did freeze and panic in action in the earlier volumes. A quote from him: "The world is hell. Strong kill the weak, but his friends protected him, so he wants to be strong." And maybe part of his motivation too, and this is me projecting a little bit, might be that he wants to be the type of person that can also protect the weak. And he is generally, right now, the position that he's in the story is to be like the idea man. He's kind of like the Sokka of the group, you know, not one of the most gifted. He's not physically in combat gifted is what I'm trying to say, but he is he's a quick thinker. He thinks outside of the box, which clearly is what they need right now. And I imagine that he is going to continue to do a lot in that role. And then I have some world building stuff, just stuff about, you know, the walls, how they've progressed, how they've fallen over time. But I think we've done enough with the notebook. If you have made it this far in the video, wow. Thank you. I hope it was worth your time. Now on Saturday, which is when this is going to go up, I'll have closed out all of my season 1 stuff. So now I can finally start season 2. And I'm very excited. I'll see you again soon. Bye.